Okay, we're going to start today talking about fall color. There are a lot of standards and there's some exotics. We're going to start out with the standards. These are asters. Asters are perennial, they're really tough. They get a little larger every year. They're cheap to buy at this time of year. You'd be a fool not to buy them, they're so pretty. They come in two different colors, kind of light purple and, I don't know, fuchsia. They are maybe waist high when they're at full height, but there's different asters that bloom at different times in the fall, and if you're really clever, you can get a long show of asters in the fall. Another great fall color choice are the Chinese lanterns. They're messy and they're invasive, but they're so much fun. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Uh-huh. You can see they've totally invaded the garden. They're popping up in the lawn. But hey, this is gonna be all a construction site soon enough. So let them have their last wish. Of course, the most common fall flower is the mammoth, also known as the chrysanthemum. Comes in lots of different colors. Very inexpensive, as you can see. The big mistake people make is buying the nicest looking one. Problem is, when you do that, you're actually buying it at its peak, and then it never looks as good after that. And you find it quite disappointing, and then you throw it away. They're often treated as annuals because they're so disposable, but they actually are tender perennials. If you find the right spot, they will get bigger every year. Now over here we have some that are just coming. If I were to purchase these, I would get the ones that are just in bud, like that, so that you get the full show. If you get these ones, they'll be finished in a week. These ones will give you 2 to 3 weeks of color. Also, if you buy the smaller ones, they're more likely to establish themselves and get bigger the next year. Maximum size is about 4 feet in diameter, so they get huge. Of course, the king of the fall flower is the sunflower, a remarkable plant. I don't think you can purchase them at the store. You have to start them from seeds, so when you find them, it's quite remarkable. Someone has planted them just at the perfect moment. They're difficult to start. I've had success only once. Can you see the beautiful pattern in there of all the seeds ripening? They're so big. And such a great investment. $1 for all of that. A little less common, but still very easy to find in mid-September are the fall crocus. Now this fall crocus has a slug on it, and we're just gonna remove him. Ooh. Throw him out in the street. Pew. Okay. Now these guys are amazing because they come up like gangbusters in the spring, look like they're gonna do something spectacular, and then just die back to the ground. So you can plant them in the middle of a lawn and mow over them when they finish their leafing out in the spring. Then boom, they pop up in September and produce these sort of tulip-like large crocus. There's some more here that are just kind of already fading, but they're pretty purple. And they're perennial. There's lots of different fuchsias. This is not one of my favorites, but it certainly gets pretty large, and it's tough. It's been here for years and years. And September is its month. It gets prettier and prettier over the month of September. So I'll show you a few more, but there's one. Here's a fuchsia on standard. You can see it's at its maximum glory in mid-September. This is actually not that great. It should be much fuller by now, but we didn't get heat until mid-July this year, so it's a lousy year for Fuchsia. That's about as good as they get this year. But they're very cheap plants, and they come back year after year if you take good care of them. Okay, behind me is the famous burning bush. Very inexpensive in the spring because it doesn't look like much. So maybe $15, maybe $20 for a small plant about this big. And then look how big it gets over the years. And every year the fall show is just amazing. Not flowers. I know this is supposed to be perennial fall flowers, but you gotta get a load of this. It should be in every garden. Yeah, great bush. And when it's done its show, it needs to be cut back at least 20%, maybe more. It likes getting cut back. It reacts well after the show. Alright, I'll show you again next week. Finally, my favorite fall flower is the sun patient. By its name, you can tell it's part of the impatient family, which are normally shade-loving plants. But sun patient should be grown in full sun. It's hard to find. It's only available for a small window in June, maybe a couple of weeks. They're expensive, maybe $10 each. But this is the time when they really, really shine. So all summer long they're getting bigger and bigger, and this is small for them. If we had had a hot summer, these would have been twice this size. They would be good 24, 30 inches in diameter. I've seen them huge in the past. Anyway, sun patients, look for them in June. The windflower is at its peak in mid-September. See how pretty that is. They'll be finished soon, but wow, so nice. And a nice camouflage to the delicious looking apples that are growing right behind them. Oh, bitten by the squirrels. Shame. But here's a nice one. Hey? Looks, oh, you got a bite there. I think I'm gonna try this one here.